Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Pause the video right now to check out my social media, my radio show, and thatdrummerguy.com. And most of all, enjoy the following presentation.
Hello.
Hi.
Michael Schenker speaking.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
Oh, thank you.
Well, of course, we're here to talk about your brand new album, Resurrection, which is coming out the 2nd of March. I've been able to check this album out over the last couple days, and I really love what you're doing with this album. I mean, just like all the great diversity that's going on with this album and being able to showcase everything that you're capable of. I really love where you're at right now in 2018.
Thank you so much.
Oh, not a problem. So, what went into the writing process for Resurrection?
What was the what?
What went into the writing process? Like, how did the album writing begin for Resurrection?
The writing process? The writing process?
Yes.
Yeah, well, the usual. You know, it's the Michael Schenker style writing process. Play and discover, selecting new elements that I discover that come from within, keep them on a cassette recorder, and then get inspired by those pieces to write to complete the songs, and then go in the studio and put down the, you know, having a vision of making a blueprint, making the record sounding as complete as possible in order to hear for the musicians and for the singers where the journey is going to, making sure that people understand this is a double bass drum part, this is meant to be mid-tempo, and so you have to make sure that when you're an architect, that you make a blueprint, that people keep the guidelines. You can add some bits and pieces here and there, but of course, you know, that what the musicians basically adding to it is their personality. You know, it's the voice of the singers, and of course it's the writing, if they write, is the melodies, and so on and so on. But I want to make sure that, you know, not listening to music for 17 years and not listening to guitars for since I was 17 years old, I mean, which is a total of 43 years now. That has been my thing, you know, that I do, you know. It's the lead guitar playing music and the art of lead guitar with pure self-expression. You know, I want to keep that alive as much as possible. So when you have other people making contributions, it will reflect a certain amount of influence or whatever, you know. But I try to keep the blueprint as pure as possible. But it's done when the musicians, you know, add their parts to it. It becomes the full body, and it becomes the house, you know, with the little elements here and there that everybody adds to it.
Yeah, and I can definitely say from the fan perspective, I think you absolutely nailed it when it came to that. I mean, everything from the songwriting to all the guests that appear on there to the complete lineup, the production. I mean, everything just feels like it's an amazing take on where Michael Schenker is right now in, well, obviously in 2017, but right now in 2018 when the album comes out. I mean, it's a great photograph for where you are right now, and I really love everything that went into it.
Yeah, you know, and also it's the 40th anniversary of Strangers in the Night, you know, which was voted one of the best rock live albums of all time. And so, you know, if you just kind of getting a little step beyond, you know, who knows, maybe even Phil Mock is going to show up and sing some Strangers in the Night songs with us, you know, at some festivals. Or Klaus Meine in 2019 is a 50 years anniversary of recording for Klaus and myself. So maybe Klaus is coming on stage and sings In Search of Peace of Mind on stage with us, which was my ever very first written piece of music.
Oh, that is just incredible, and I'm glad that that's in the works right now, and being able to celebrate that for well, obviously with the stuff that's going on this year, but also for next year as well.
I don't know.
Having that in mind.
I don't know if it will happen. It's just, you know, you can't. Asking doesn't cost. But what I'm saying is, you know, life is a funny thing, and life seems to be to do with circles and completing cycles, etc., etc. So I wouldn't be surprised if, universally speaking, that maybe Phil is part of, you know, at some point, you know, singing some songs with us on stage as the 40th anniversary of Strangers in the Night, and it wouldn't surprise me if Klaus would be open to complete his cycle, you know, to sing In Search of Peace of Mind, you know, or to do something or whatever, or maybe even, you know, Michael Schenker Fest becomes something that becomes an even bigger fest than it is now, that it becomes the ultimate Michael Schenker Fest, you know, where all the different elements all show up together on one stage and on one album. It can you know, the possibilities and the common sense in a way would be the way, you know, that it could go that way. That's what I'm saying. It is not a must. It's just an idea. But maybe I can inspire some people to understand that is maybe not a bad idea.
Yeah, I definitely love the idea of that. And if everything can be lined up to make that happen, I mean, that would be such a great celebration.
Yeah.
And with that, I mean, with it being so long now and having such a great career in the process, I mean, when you go to that legendary album all the way now to Resurrection, how does it feel to be able to have so many great albums a part of your personal discography and being able to see the progression of your style since then? Yeah,
I loved the progression. You know, I don't look back and compare and analyze what I did. You know, I mean, I like the only way I look back is that I see today that my life comes in 3 stages. You know, the very first, all the way up to Strangers in the Night, or even Love Drive, helping out the Scorpions to open the doors for America for the Scorpions, but making the decision at the age of 23 in 1978, after Strangers in the Night, that you know, when I had to reach the point, you know, where I was experiencing, you know, the success and fame at its highest, and I was able to make a decision if I wanted to stay there and maybe desperately hold on to that, or just, you know, let go and start my second part of my life, which was more about experimenting with music, getting things out of my system, and learning more about life, etc., which were the most rewarding years that, you know, created who I am today. You know, where I can carry on today, where I stopped when I was 23 years old. You know, and because the middle years, you know, like I always say, I unconsciously made my musical contribution to the world in the 70s, and because I did not wanted to be famous or anything, I was just having fun playing guitar, and so that's why, you know, I heard how much impact I had on people much later in my life, you know, because it was not something that I thought I would ever hear. I never thought I would ever get any awards either. I never dreamt of anything like that. I just was having fun, you know, music. And in 2008, something happened, you know. I was always stage fright. In 2008, all of a sudden I wanted to be on stage. So that was the time that gave me a sign that it's time to be back in the loop of rock and roll. And that's when I, you know, put my leg back in, and then with the signing of Nuclear Blast, I'm in with both legs, and I decided that was important to do, and especially with the Michael Schenker Fest, it's a much bigger undertaking, and it needs the powerful support of a professional company, a great company like Nuclear Blast, and so I have a great organization, and we were all working well together, and so it's a great place to be in.
Yeah, and it's so great to see that too. I wanted to bring that up as well about being signed to Nuclear Blast. I mean, with such a great diverse roster that is a part of that. I mean, it's great to see your style now a part of Nuclear Blast, and of course with all the promotion that goes into that as well. I mean, especially when it comes to upcoming appearances for live shows and everything, having the backing of Nuclear Blast being able to help with the promotion is definitely a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I enjoy doing it. I just did like all of December. I promoted in Europe, It was fantastic. And I love the fact that there is such a thing as an interviewer, because the interviewers are the ones, especially if they are older ones and have been involved in the whole development of the rock scene from, the late 60s onwards, when Zeppelin and Deep Purple and all of that started, to monitor that whole development, and what happened and who did what and how it happened, and it's just fascinating that there is such a department such as an interviewer who keeps track on what really happened, and so it's a fun thing to do.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, even though in the grand scheme of things, I'm much younger when it comes into the interviewer game, but it's like I love learning about history before my time. I love being able to keep up with what's going on now and being able to help with the future. And, just like obviously with talking with someone like you with all the experience that you have, being able to help promote a new album, and of course all the upcoming live shows that are going to be going along to be able to help promote this new album. I mean, there's such a great display of rock and roll and heavy metal and everything that's going on with this album and what you're doing right now. I mean, there's so much that can be covered, and it's great to see that you still have that want and drive to be able to continue on like that.
Well, I have more today than I've ever had, period, and so it's a little bit similar to the yogi who goes into the cave and ends up as a wise man guru, actually did what needed to be done in order to develop to that what he wanted to become.
And speaking of that, I mean, one of the guest stars that does appear on this album is Kirk Hammett. I mean, obviously with being inspired by you, I mean, it's awesome to see someone of his caliber wanting to be a part of a brand new album from yours. And just like that, being able to continue on with that inspiration from what you're doing and passing it along. Yeah,
it's I mean, I Am for Kirk was Jeff Beck is for me, and so it just goes from generation to generation. It's nothing unusual. But the thing is, because there's a generation gap, there's always a little bit of shyness between the two generations, because there's much older people, like Jeff Beck is 10 years older than me. You don't just enter in his world and make yourself present, you just have a respect, and you leave them alone, in a way. But, and so Kirk, I was always told that I'm his Santa Claus by Peter Mensch, who is his manager, and who used to manage me, and so Kirk always expressed that he wanted to meet me and jam with me, and then the Eddie Trunk show, Eddie Trunk helped to create that with Peter Mensch and or with his management and with Kirk, and so we ended up jamming together in the Eddie Trunk show and that metal show, and we did interview together, and then a few days later he jammed with us on stage, and so basically, Kirk. The fan became a friend, and plays in one of the biggest band in the world. And I said, Kirk, you want to do this? Yes, let's do this. And so for him, it's a personal achievement too, because he's playing on the same album as his favorite lead guitarist. So that's an achievement for him, a personal achievement, I guess. But for me, he's Kirk Hammett. He's the guitarist of the biggest band in the world. So it's just a kind of unique little development there.
And speaking of that, when he was prepping up for his guest spot on the album, did you have like any thoughts or ideas for what you wanted him to do on the album, or did you just let him do his thing when it came to his guest spot?
No, basically, we left. Kirk, he wanted to record it on his own, in his own studio in Hawaii, and so his management actually paid for our co-producer to fly over there and record his parts. So basically, what Michael Voss and I did, we left the holes where we wanted him to play. And then Michael went over there and recorded him. But it was funny because Michael Voss was sending me pictures back of them spending time together recording. And Kirk looked like a 20-year-old teenager with the biggest smile in his face, with his casual outfit, because he lives there, etc., etc. So he obviously was very happy to do that, but I wanted him to be himself. That was very important, there's no point in me, having a jam with somebody who wants to be on a record with me, trying to play like me. I mean, it's senseless. It doesn't make any sense. I want the people, if there's such people out there who want to do this, they have to be themselves, because, otherwise, there's no point in maybe, showing that, I can play like Michael. No, you can't, because you have to invent it first. So forget about that, okay? You can copy him, yeah, but you can't do it the way he does. But, I encourage people to be themselves and show what they have, And so, Kirk did that with his own vibrato, which reminds me of my vibrato when I was on my first record of Lonesome Crow. So he must have liked that vibrato right then already, that many years ago, and kept it as his signature. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and it's so cool to be able to see, like, with everyone that you've been able to collaborate with and everyone that's been a part of this album. I mean, it just definitely sounds like everyone involved was having such a great time with it. I mean, whether it was from the production side or whether it was someone being recorded, I mean, it feels like a very fun record, and with it being so diverse and being able to show off so many different styles, it really does feel like everyone gets to be themselves.
Yeah, and because it's so different, and it's such a unique thing. I mean, you can't just throw something like that together. It's impossible. Look, Steve Mann, he made a comment at some of the footage in the deluxe editions. He said, like, it's just incredible. This could have gone so wrong, But, I never even questioned this. I never even looked at the downside of it. I just, I'm not that type of a person. I just had an idea, and I just said to myself, asking doesn't cost, and that was it. I mean, important also is you don't expect it to happen. It's very important because, I always say if something's meant to happen, it will happen. If the conditions are right for something to happen, it will happen. You cannot rain until the conditions are there to rain. It won't rain unless the conditions are there for rain to rain. And so, or if the student is ready, the master will show. It's all the same thing. It is just something. If something is meant to be and something is ready to happen, it will happen.
Yeah, that is such a great, fantastic way to look at everything. I mean, that's such a great positive outlook to look on life, and it's an even better feeling when you are able to do it in this kind of situation with Resurrection, and you look at the outcome of what happens, and you can be so proud of what happened to get to that point.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. I mean, I'm very happy with it because also at the very same time, I'm with a fantastic record company that really supports that, And so the whole thing is so round and complete. It's just unbelievable.
And so with that, I mean, obviously with the album coming out the 2nd of March, there's obviously going to be some live shows that's going along with that. Is there anything in the works so far, like anything planned out for this year?
Yeah, we are starting the American tour on 6th of March. The 2nd of March, the album is going to come out. and Resurrection, and we I think we do about 20 or 25 shows. It's we arrive at the East Coast around the 2nd, and we depart America on the 6th, and so it's roughly like a 5-week tour, and we are working on, I've just done a month's European promotion tour. I'm going from here to Japan and complete that, and then I sit together with my organization and we look at all the offers that have come in all the way up to 2019 now, and see what can be done. And it's a much bigger undertaking. I want to make sure we get bigger promoters that promote well ahead of time, that do it properly, and because that is the other thing that needs to be part of it to make this thing complete. Everything needs to match the level of this undertaking.
So with that, from the fan perspective, whether it be the first time being able to see you on this tour or for a long-time fan, what should people expect from these upcoming shows?
It's I tell you, from many different points of view, from the hardcore fan point of view. I mean, they have already, the DVD was the first thing that actually showed the world the potential of this undertaking, rather than looking through the iPhone and the YouTube thing. So and so many people are already aware of what's to come. But because we have an additional, and it is expanding. As Doogie White is part of it. We're doing a whole Temple of Rock period of performing. Doogie is his own man. He sings his own classics now. He's not singing Gary Barden songs or whatever. Maybe he will make an exception, singing some UFO stuff if Phil doesn't show up. But it's everybody is the original, and I mean every singer is now the original singer performing his songs from that chosen songs from that period that he was involved in, and Doogie White is the addition who will take care of the latest current thing I did with Doogie and Herman and Francis from the Scorpions, old Scorpions, Rocky Like the Hurricane Rhythm section, and so now Doogie is part of this, so we have basically the Temple of Rock be part of the Michael Schenker Fest, and basically for the hardcore fan, it will be a time travel. It's seeing all of them on the same stage. It's going to be a blast for them. It would be for me if I had the opportunity to experience something like that, and for the newcomer to be able to see everything that happened over a period of 10 years in one night, and get a glimpse of what it may have been like in the past, must be amazing. And and for us as the performers, it is just an incredible joy to do this, and especially for me. I mean, I'm going to be there. It's a 2.5-hour show. I hope we all be still standing on stage in the audience, But it's a long show, but it's not too long, and it's just like very well balanced show. It's nothing too much in one direction. It is just very, very. I have a good sense of balance in that sense, and I really made sure that there is classics, that there is classics, that there is the songs from each singer that is at this point in time the most important songs to sing, and so on. And it's I mean, I really, it's a very important for me as well. When I make a record, I always make sure the record has balance. If I would write a book, or not a biography, but a fiction, say for instance, a story or something, I would always make sure there is balance that you don't get bored, that there's always elements in there that come out of the blue that take you by surprise, etc., etc. And so that's what I do with an album. That's what I do with a show. And with 4 singers, it is actually even easier to do it, and especially with them, because everybody coordinates very well and participates very well. And so it's a very, it's just a enjoyable puzzle to put together.
And that makes me so happy to hear that, too. I mean, with the amazing career that you've had up to this point, being able to help promote and celebrate an amazing brand new album like Resurrection, and being able to go back, play the classics, play the B-sides that it just deserves to get that live representation, and being able to showcase so many sides of what you've done over the years. I mean, besides being able to show off a great album like Resurrection, I mean, for the live show, being able to represent everything like that, I mean, I love the idea of being that diverse and being able to have things that well-rounded. And it just sounds like it's going to be an incredible night every night.
Yep. I mean, we already had a warm-up, mini tour, because everything that happened with this lineup happened all in baby steps, all digestible. We never ate too much too quick, too soon. It's very strange. It's not created by me. It's not created by anybody in the band. It's just a momentum that is universally created. It's just a momentum. We're just getting pieces as much as we can digest, without getting ulcers. And so it's just like another step, where we are moving to the next level. We had a tour. We went to, we headlined the Loud Park indoor arena, the 3rd biggest indoor arena in the world. We headlined there in 2017. We even had Gene Simmons supporting. And it was just like, and then we did a follow-up. We did Osaka. We had Offenbach. We did 3 shows in Spain, and we did 4 in England. So we already have the next step completed, with success, with having fun and everything. And so now we go into our next level, which is going to be a 5-week tour in the States. And so we're taking it step by step.
Oh, and that just sounds absolutely incredible. Well, Michael, thank you so very much for taking all this time to be able to talk to me about everything that you got going on right now in 2018. And of course, talking about the brand new album Resurrection, which is coming out the 2nd of March through Nuclear Blast, and being able to talk about everything that's coming up this year and hopefully for next year. It's just incredible to see where you're at right now. And I'm so very happy to see that through all this time that you are able to represent all of these great different sides to your playing, and being able to give the fans what they want, and making yourself happy in the process, and being able to showcase all these different sides. And it was an absolute pleasure to be able to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Before we wrap things up, is there anything else you would like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
Yeah, keep on rocking.